Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So, the President Muhammadu Buhari last November presented a budget of 8 trillion naira. Today, 6 months after that date, the National Assembly had jerked that figure up to 9 trillion naira. So what does that mean? The fact that this has been delayed, considering what the executive says they want to regularize a budget here, that looks like a failed project. On one hand, that is one thing that we need to be thinking about. On another hand, whether exactly are the lawmakers adding the figures and what is the implication of the figures added? Tonight on the program, our panel is Bismarck Rwani, an economist, and the CEO of Financial Derivatives, talking to us from Chicago in the United States. Seun Onigbinde is a co-founder of Budget. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time on the program again. So let me quickly come to you again, Mr. Onigbinde. As it stands right now, there are a lot of issues different people have raised on the issues of frivolous items that are perhaps found their way, just as ever, some people would say, the issues of furniture, issues of newspapers, issues of kitchen utensils that keep coming over and over every year. How prevalent is this factor?
Yeah, in the proposal that was sent by the executive, a whole of items they need a whole of questioning. And we did a whole of that. We did advocacy to the National Assembly, wrote them memos to say these items are frivolous, these items you need to consider and you need to review them before you pass the budget. And we're looking forward to see the details of the current 2018 appropriation bill as passed by the National Assembly. But what worries me much more is that if you have done the diligent work on taking out those items, you have a lesser budget figure. But now we have much more now, and we have much more of the budget figure on two sides. You see more appropriation going into the capital expenditure side, and you see more appropriation going into the debt service side. And
so from capital expenditure, there's an increase from 2.42 trillion to 2.86 trillion.
Yes, so that's a 400 billion naira increase.
So, and in debt servicing, from 2.0 trillion to 2.020 trillion.
So that's another 200 billion extra. So those are the way, and I think they took down the sticking fund. And there's a potential, and which is that from 220
billion to 190 billion
for the sticking
fund.
Yeah, there's a potential that the benchmark price of oil had been jacked up. Because this is the usual practice of the National Assembly. When they want to impute budget items, they also want to make sure that the revenue is able to cover that. And so they jack up the benchmark price. And they have all the courage to do that, considering that oil prices are now nearing $80 per barrel.
So the indices are changing.
Indices are changing. But
the basics of the budget document is totally
different.
Reconfigured.
Yes, reconfigured. But most importantly is that we need to have a leaner government. There's nothing that's shown from the executive of the National Assembly that we want to have a leaner budget.
So when we have recurrent of 3.4 trillion proposed, now it's 3.5. So compared to capital expenditure of 2.86 trillion.
Yeah. So we have recurrent. Don't forget, even the debt servicing is also part of the recurrent.
Is that awkward?
That's awkward. It's also part of the recurrent part of the budget, the debt servicing. So we don't spend enough on capital budget. And don't forget that most of our recurrent items, they will be dropped down because you can't say salaries will be paid. Debt services is compulsory, it will be paid. Most of the statutory transfers to the National Assembly and all the other agencies will be paid in full. So the recurrent is always fully paid. The problem is the capital expenditure. How much are we going to release? We did over 2 trillion in 2017. So far, we've released, not spent, we've released 1.5 trillion. So the amount spent might even be less than what is released.
Compared to 2016, the performance of 2017 is better, isn't it?
The performance of 2017 budget is better compared to 2016.
But we're still not near the seriousness of what governance should look like.
We are still not near.
Let me go to Mr. Rwani.